Alright, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to be mixing things up a little bit and talking about John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, which is a new game that just released very recently. I think it released last week. And me personally, I've been looking forward to this game since 2023. I believe it was revealed at Summer Game Fest, and ever since I've been fascinated with it and just anticipating its release, and finally it's here, so let's talk about it. So what is this game? Basically, so if you grew up playing things like Left 4 Dead, then this game will feel pretty familiar to you. This is basically just the next in line of zombies co-op games. And the key difference between this and Left 4 Dead is that this game is pseudo open world, or at least I believe that's the term you would use for it. Basically, so in each level, you spawn into a map and you're free to roam around and do whatever you want, and there's reasons to go and explore. You can find these spare parts that make the end of the levels much, much easier, or at least like the big hoards. And especially towards the end of the game, you pretty much are going to have to do this if you want any chance of beating some of the bigger hordes towards the later game. I'm not exactly sure if it's possible to beat them without. I would assume it probably is, but I imagine it would probably be pretty difficult on the higher difficulties. And around the map you can find various weapons, including heavy weapons. And these range from LMGs to railguns, and I believe there's a flamethrower, but don't quote me on that. There are several types of vehicles you can also find around the map, including one that comes equipped with a flamethrower. There's ones that have turrets on them. There's one that you need to traverse certain areas, and those will be prevalent in certain missions, so you won't really have to worry about it too much. Those are just pretty much provided to you. There's an ambulance that you'll be stuck driving at some points, which doesn't have any like weaponry or anything equipped to it, and there's also like a regular police car that you'll end up having to drive here and there. Also, a couple things I want to clear up. This is not a live service game, so there won't be any microtransactions in it. There's no battle pass, nothing like that. There will be paid DLC for the game. I'm not exactly sure when it's coming out, but at some point later this year, there will be paid DLC. You can actually buy it right now, I believe. There's like a bloody pass or something like that that'll give you access to it. And the game is going to get free content updates, but yeah, no, it's not a live service game. Another thing that I need to explain is the class system. So there's 4 classes. And these are all pretty standard. You've got your strike, your operator, your medic, and your defender. Strike is basically just like the default class of like, kind of being crowd control. It has like an explosive fireball and some other stuff you can mess around with. Nothing crazy. It's a beginner friendly class. You don't need to really do much to make it work. There's the operator class, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't have a lot of experience with. My friend was playing as it during the playthrough that I've done so far. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure how strong the drone is, but it was always prevalent in pretty much the entire playthrough. Like, it was always active and doing something. I just don't know how much. As for the medic class, this is the one that I primarily played, so I can actually speak on it quite a bit. So early in the game, I honestly thought the medic class was going to be pretty weak when I realized that when you start out, you're not exactly able to heal, but you can change the like kind of ability that the character has, and they can actually heal, because at first all I had was a shield. And to be honest with you guys, the healing is almost essential, especially on harder difficulties. Early in the game, you're not really able to carry a lot of medkits, so having a medic is very helpful for that reason alone. And also, the medic can carry more medkits than anyone else, I'm pretty sure. I haven't gone through the trees for the other characters nearly as much as the medic, so they may be able to upgrade to hold way more medkits as well. But the medic definitely can hold multiple medkits at a time, and that comes in handy in like the later missions and as the game gets more difficult. And overall, just again, the medic's healing ability is very helpful when resources are scarce. And the last class is the Defender class, which basically is just a tank class, area control type of class. They can deploy dome-shaped barriers that block incoming enemy fire, as far as like the zombies that can actually shoot at you. I forget what they're called, but the little things that you have to shoot before they basically fire a laser at you. He can block those, and his barricade will also damage zombies that walk through it. Also, the customization options in this game is pretty nice. I was expecting it to be way worse than it is and way more limited than it is, but there's actually a ton of weapon skins. There are vehicle skins, there's skins for your character, and there's also a ton of weapon progression, so you have to level every single weapon in the game if you want them to be equipped with every single attachment that they can get. You can also prestige weapons, and every weapon in the game has a camo that's tied to its progression path. And again, I hinted earlier that each class has progression through skill trees, and these skill trees are actually pretty big. It'll take a while to fill them up, and you won't have them filled up probably from one run through the game, so there's reasons to keep going back and playing these missions and stuff. As far as the general gameplay loop, I kind of liken this game to being very similar to Helldivers. Not entirely, of course, like it's not one to one or anything like that. I want to make that clear. But this game almost reminds me of like zombie Helldivers. And it's not because you extract, but it's mainly because of like the way that you go around the map completing these little mini objectives basically, and then you work your way to the main objective, which is what you really need to do if you want to, beat the mission. Basically, you're going around the map, killing zombies, finding vehicles, keeping your vehicles maintained with gas, which is a whole endeavor sometimes. Most of the time, I would say the gas thing is really not that big of a factor, and you're going to find a gas can before it becomes an issue. But there are some missions in the game where the gas cans are pretty spread out, and you might run into a little bit of difficulty. And then after you've gotten your vehicle, after you've gotten, kind of geared up and you found the spare parts that you need, which again, spare parts are things that help make the end of the level and, the big hordes a lot easier. You can fortify the place. You can add, barbed wire and electrical fences. You can buy turrets and mortars and stuff like that to just, again, make this whole process a lot easier as far as surviving those huge hordes go. Because the hordes in this game, and that's something that I haven't touched on yet, are absolutely massive. I've never played like a ton of zombie games in my life, but I can tell you right now that these hordes are the biggest hordes I've ever seen in a zombies video game, and it's not even close. Like I played Days Gone and the hordes in that game are really impressive obviously for, it being like a single player game and stuff. This is like a multiplayer game and there are hundreds of zombies on the screen at a time during these big hordes, and honestly, I didn't notice any performance issues during the times where there were a ton of zombies on the screen, just throwing that out there. So, and honestly though, like at its core, this is just a fun game. Like more than anything, this game is just fun. Like that's kind of the whole message that I would get across is like if you're gonna get this game, the reason you're getting it is because it's fun. It's $40, just like as far as price goes. So it's on the cheaper side as far as like major game releases go. I don't know if you'd classify this as a major game, but at the end of the day, this is just a fun game that you can get and play with your friends. Like that's really all that it's trying to be is just that. And the story is nothing remarkable. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it has some crazy interesting or crazy intricate story or anything like that. It's fine to play through. There's nothing like spectacular about it, but it's fun to play through. And the atmosphere in this game is honestly incredible. The inspiration for this game's atmosphere basically came from 80s horror. Like everything about this game was basically inspired by 80s horror and obviously some of the works of John Carpenter whose name is attached to this game. There are, I believe, 9 maps on launch, and I believe that when you load into these every time, the locations of things on the map are a little different. But anyway, yeah, there are about 9 maps for you to explore, and that definitely keeps things feeling fresh whenever you're, going back and replaying through these missions to try to get upgrades for your weapons or whatever the case. So overall, like I said, I'm a big fan of this game. There are a couple critiques that I have of it, and one of the first is just the lack of modes and variety once you finish the story. Again, I understand this isn't a live service game or anything like that, so I'm willing to cut it some slack, especially considering it's only $40, but I will say I would have definitely liked to see like more of an actual horde mode maybe in the game. Like something maybe like wave based or, kind of like a Gears of War style horde mode I feel like would be really cool in a game like this. Or maybe just like a mode where you spawn in basically when the big hordes are going to come out and you have like, the limited resources to fortify a little bit and you just try to survive those as long as humanly possible while they increasingly get more difficult. Like it could be something like that in a wave-based format. Obviously, I don't know exactly what they could do, but I just think that would be a really cool idea that would add longevity to the game. Because as it stands right now, it's basically just the story missions that you can go back and replay through on higher difficulties. And there are currencies and stuff that you can earn in the game, and that's what you're using to buy skins for your weapons and upgrades and stuff like that. So there is a gameplay loop there. I just wish that there was more actual modes and variety in the game once you beat it, because again, like, I mean, yeah, the story missions are fun and there's plenty of them. Like there's 9 different maps that you can go and, explore and all that stuff, but I still feel like that doesn't really take the place of kind of like a lack of a game mode there for the end game. And I do understand that this is a story driven game, but again, like if there's going to be all of these progression systems and gameplay loops, I feel like you kind of do need like another game mode post game to kind of fill that void. And especially considering this is like an entirely co op game, it feels like something's just kind of missing there. And I know I said they're going to continue to update this game for free, so if anybody at Saber or whatever is watching this video, then please consider this because I genuinely think it would make the game a lot better. The only other gripe I have with the game is that when you fail a mission, you're literally sent back to the very beginning of the mission. Like, not even to the beginning of the mission. Like, you're kicked out of the mission all the way back to the social hub where you have to go and relaunch the mission. And that's just honestly kind of insane. Like, I would imagine there would be kind of checkpoints or something. It's not really a big deal or anything like that. There was only one mission that I ever ended up failing during my playthrough of the game, so it's not something that even ended up being very prevalent, but I imagine maybe as you get towards the hard difficulty, then this could be a little more annoying. Oh yeah, and a couple more things I want to touch on is that weapons are all unlocked at the beginning. Like, you don't have to go and do anything crazy to unlock weapons. They're all there and unlocked at the beginning. You can use whatever weapon in the game that you want as far as like the base weapons. As far as heavies and stuff like that go, you have to find those around the map, but the base weapons are all available to you at the beginning of the game. And the last thing that I want to touch on is that the currencies in the game don't seem to be very rare. Like, I haven't played on the hardest difficulty yet, so I haven't gotten any of the blue, I think it is, currency. But as far as the first two currencies, the sludgeite and whatever the other currency is, I forget exactly what it's called, the pink one, those are both pretty common by just playing the game. I've gotten plenty of them to the point where I've been able to buy several skins and upgrade several weapons. So no issues there. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and let me know how you're feeling about this game if you've been playing it. Like I said, this is one of my favorite games I've played so far this year, and one of the games that I've been looking forward to for years, so definitely having a blast with it. And honestly, it's kind of deeper than I expected as far as like all of the stuff that you can do with upgrades and weapon progression and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it, and honestly, I think a lot of people would too. Like, if you're somebody who grew up playing like the Left 4 Dead games, or you just like co-op zombie games, or just co-op games in general to play with your friends and have fun, this is definitely like a great game for that. So yeah, like I said though, let me know how you guys are feeling about it. Leave a like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoyed this. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Generator died.
If the generator was as damaged as you said, the power regulator may be broken. Try restarting the generator.
Let's finish this shit!